Hi Libra, how are we today? Just doing our weekly readings, just sort of checking in on everything for you for the rest of October. See what is in store, where we're going from here. All right. Now, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. I do really appreciate that, but it really does help you keep an eye on all the uploads, and so you know when one relevant to you is uploaded. I will also be running a competition soon, so it will help you stay on track with that as well. All right, but today I am using a little bit of a spin on the Celtic Cross type reading. So I will be using some facets of the Celtic Cross in today's reading, but sort of kind of making it a little bit my own here. I've got my own sort of layout that I like to use sometimes. But we've got the Wing, Hoof and Paw Animal Companion Oracle that we're using today. I also have the Yin Yang Oracle here, and topping everything out today with the Slavic Folklore Lenormand. Okay, so getting into it for you, Libra. Firstly, we're going to start off with the main energy of your spread, okay? The kind of overview energy, your energy, Libra. Main energy for Libra, please. Main energy for Libra. Okay, and the supportive energy. Whoop. The supportive energy there, the clarification energy on that one, please. All right, now looking at the external influences around you this week. All right, so all the energy around you this week, the main external influences on you this week. Libra, the challenge or obstacle that you might be facing this week, the challenges or obstacles in your energy this week. The advice for Libra this week, and then the main outcomes for Libra. I will clarify further as necessary. Okay, so the main energy you are working with this week, we have the Seal. Okay, that's all about balance. So that's actually kind of similar energy to your sign itself, that your energy, Libra, with the balance, you know, the scales coming through there. But we do have that clarified by the Mice and the Rider. Okay, so this is actually a very clear message for you, Libra, that there is something coming through from your past, and it's coming in. It's like it's coming back around again this week. I do feel for a lot of you, it's specifically so that you can find balance within yourself, that you're kind of finding the answers that you have sort of put you out of balance, out of whack. For some of you, this may be, you know, something coming in quick from the past or from a long time ago. For others of you, it's not so much to do with the past as, you know, things that you feel like you've lost, right? It's kind of giving, I'm just trying to think of an example here for you, but whatever it is, it's like there's good news on the way about this issue. So it's like, oh, I lost my innocence, and all of a sudden, good news. No, you haven't lost your innocence. You've found new ways of looking at the topic of innocence, if that kind of makes sense. You're balancing this out in your life, so it's kind of keeping you in balance. That whatever's been sort of niggling away in the back of your head, keeping you sort of out of balance, out of whack. There's kind of good news coming in regard to that. So it's then it's balancing. So for some of you, it's going to be, you know, something negative coming in to balance out all the positive that's already here for you, and for others of you, it's something positive coming in to balance out all the negative that's currently going on in your life. So, you know, take that as it resonates. I do feel that for a lot of you, we are actually looking at something that you're not necessarily something that you don't necessarily look at with a positive aspect coming in for you this week, but it is actually providing a positive long-term benefit of this in your life. It's like closure for some of you here. It's like to balance everything out, to finally get justice, you know, peace and justice with a situation. All right. So the external influence here, we have the Snake. So for some of you, this is specifically to do with this thing here. It's Scorpio for some of you, maybe involving a Scorpio, some kind of betrayal or deception, loss, something that was taken from you, an opportunity that was lost or taken from you. It really does feel like taken from you for a lot of you here, because it's feeling like a deception or a betrayal, that you were tricked into choosing the wrong thing here, and it's eaten away at you a little bit here about, oh, I really wish I had made a different choice, those sorts of things. So the external influence does seem to be, the deception or the betrayal that has occurred in the past here. That the trickery, the snake in the grass that has kind of bitten you in the past here, and left you feeling like, oh, I wish I had walked a different way that day, and then I never would have got bitten by that snake. That kind of thing. For some of you, it's specifically to do with the Scorpio. The challenge or the obstacle that you're facing with this situation is the ship. Okay, so once again, it's giving me a very specific message of that. It's about distance, okay, and it's kind of like the challenge and the obstacle this week is the fact that you're not as distant from this thing as you thought you were, or you had hoped you were. It's like, even if it's something that it was in your past, the distance between it and where you are right now isn't actually as far as you thought. Not time wise, but from yourself. That time has been irrelevant here. That that it's still actually something quite close to, your heart, in the sense of the hurt and the pain are still quite close. So the distance is the challenge, that this is actually a lot closer to impacting you than you thought that it was going to be. So it actually does stir up a bit of emotion for you this week, Libra, in the sense that I thought that was in the past. I thought that was over and done with a long time ago. But now that this is coming back around, it's actually affecting me more than I thought I was going to let it. That the distance, even though time-wise the distance may be far, when it comes to how close that is to triggering me or impacting me emotionally, isn't as far as I thought it was. All right. So that may be a bit of a challenge with this week. The advice for you is the ring. Okay, so really, really trusting the relationships that we currently have in our life, and relying on those relationships to help strengthen us this week. Our advice is to really focus on those relationships and what we want with those relationships, rather than because I do feel like for some of you, this thing from the past may negatively affect your current relationships if you allow it. So really focusing on the positives, the positive relationships you have in your life this week is very strongly advised here, because the outcome we have for you is the mountain. All right, so it's not going to be easy. It's not something that you're just going to be able to go, oh, bang bang, done, sorted. It's not going to be easy. Okay, the mountain is usually a challenge or an obstacle in itself. Sometimes delays and things like that, but it's something that we need to put in a lot of work if we try to get over this obstacle. So this is creating a big sort of obstacle in your way this week, this issue, and it's telling you that you're going to need to be perseverant and very, very, put in the work here. This is a week that is calling for you to really put in the work if you want positive outcomes with this. That the positive outcome is that you are going to realize how determined you are to not allow this energy to affect you. The positive outcomes are going to be, that you're willing to put in the work to overcome this, that you're doing the work, you're determined, you're perseverant, you're focusing on the achievements that you're wanting here, and so the outcome is going to be putting in a lot of work this week for this issue. So I know that's asking a lot of you this week, Libra, but that's what's necessary for you this week. You need to put in the work. You need to knuckle down and get this done and out of your life so that, you can go back to focusing on the positive stuff in your life, and the relationships that you have in a positive way seem to be something very, very useful here. But remembering too that this is all about balance and justice. Okay, so that this is happening for a kind of a reason, that it is actually really helping balance things out for you here so that you can move forward. So it's kind of giving you closure for something. It's kind of, finding the truth of a situation so you can balance everything out and have, equal energy spread across the board kind of thing, so that you can move forward in a much more, balanced way for yourself. You're not no longer going to be sort of out of whack. It's a very balanced energy moving forward after this week. So it's one of them things that we sometimes we do need to just get through it, put the work in to make sure that we get through it, and then things can look up from there. All right. Extra messages for Libra. Anything else Libra needs to know this week, please? Anything else Libra needs to be aware of this week? What else is going on for Libra that they need to be aware of for the end of October, please? So yeah, I am saying weekly, but this is kind of the end of October reading. Okay, so it will carry over a little bit there. So yeah, this is exactly what we're talking about for you this week. We have the Pluto card, which is all about transformation. All right. And it came out directly with this cycles, completion. And we see the butterfly in that one as well. So that's transformation as well, change. So, this transformation energy came out directly with cycles and completion. So this is specifically to close this cycle off in your life so that you can then, move forward and continue with this metamorphosis of your life and who you are, and no longer being held back to this past cycle, to this past thing that has been sort of holding you back a little bit here. This is the final step of that transformation, so then that you can completely move on from that. You may not even realize that this has been holding you back a little bit here, and that you haven't actually transformed that energy completely. A lot of you are feeling more healed from this than you actually are, but this is that final step to finally get that closure and the balance that you need here to finally move forward from this, and really not allow it to deceive you anymore. That there's no rose tinted glasses anymore. All right, and then we do see the sun coming through here, the strength and the empowerment. So that's where it leaves you. It moves you into this very empowering energy where you find your strength and confidence, and all the truth being revealed here, everything coming to light here for you really, really brings you into the end of this transformation. The cycle ends. You start new cycles that are moving a lot more into balanced harmony and happiness for you, Libra. So even though it may be a bit of a rough week for you, a rough week and a bit, 10 days, I feel, it's all about regaining balance, and so that we can move into harmony and happiness. All right. So ultimately there is a reason for all this happening for you at the moment. All right. It is worth dealing with this, even though it may be a bit like, I don't really want to deal with this. There is that moment there where that challenge, that obstacle of the distance, that this is actually still closer to your emotions and your triggers than you realize it is. So we're sort of clearing that out for the final push there. All right. So it's all happening for a reason, even though it may be a bit of a rough week on you here, Libra, something coming back around, from the past, or something that you thought was taken from you in some kind of a way. I do keep getting the phrase innocence lost in some kind of way connected to this for a lot of you as well. So that's what we have for you this week. You are more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all again soon.